Dynamic living is a life filled with joy and happiness all of the time. Free of fear, free of worry, continuing in the process of accomplishing worthwhile goals, and is totally well adjusted in life's 6 major areas, which include home, social, physical, mental, spiritual, and business. This is Skip Ross's definition of a dynamic life. That's intense, but that is powerful. And we're going to talk a bit more about the first sentence in a second, joy and happiness all of the time. So I want you to think a bit about this one. What is your idea of a dynamic life? A big question. Have you thought about this? Have you defined it? At the start of CD2, he talks about the plum. This is a bad disease. The poor little old me disease. Are you infected with that? But someone told him that you are exactly where you want to be because you're a product of all the choices that you've made. It's your responsibility. Change is always going to be painful. We hate change, don't we? But it depends on how you look at change. He spent many of the first years of his life feeling sorry for himself. It was on that journey, that love affair with books journey that we spoke about last week, that he developed the Dynamic Living Seminar formula. It's pretty intense. And like I said, I know a lady, Leanne Edgar, who's got this tattooed on her arm, so she lives these principles. DL, Dynamic Living, equals God-given equipment, GGE, plus the principles of success times by proper self-image. All right, so I don't want to dig too much into this right now because it's your job to dig into it. But basically, everyone has talents. Everyone has God-given equipment. So there's principles for success. You just have to know them. You've got to live by them. You've got to be guided by them. And he said, well, why is everyone not successful if the principles for success are out there and they're free and they're available? Because if you don't have a proper self-image, you're multiplying the whole thing by 0 or even below 0, then you've got nothing. But if you've got a great self-image, a high PSI, then you're going to have a dynamic life. Most people only ever reach 10% of their potential. So they're leaving a lot on the table. We're going to multiply it to get our self-image higher. Are we not equally successful if everyone has access to the same principles? Well, self-image is the multiplier. He also says that sometimes the picture you see of yourself is not accurate. Very often. I would say in every single case, you probably don't see yourself as you really are. And Zig Ziglar's got a great quote here, and he mentions he mentions Zig Ziglar quite a lot. You will never consistently do what is in contrast to what you believe yourself to be. So you got to believe in yourself. John Maxwell's always said, I'm a person of value who then values people and then adds value to them. But you've got to value yourself first. Now, we can't go back and fix the past. We can only look to the future. So let's talk about what we can do. What hit me this morning, the amount of kids today, teenagers, that think about or attempt suicide. An enormous amount. He said 750,000 kids in the US attempt to take their life every year. Wow, he's getting worse too. He's not good. And he's driven to help kids to not have to make that same mistakes that he made. I said I'd talk about the start there. Dynamic living is a life filled with joy and happiness all of the time. All of the time. It's your responsibility and it's just a choice. And he says you can choose to be happy or you can choose to be sad. It's always better, it's always wiser to choose to be happy. But it is a decision. It's not saying that you can't feel emotions. It's not saying that you should turn up to a funeral happy, as he joked. Before the circumstances ever arrive, you can decide to have the right attitude and perspective only if you know who you are and why you are here. All right? Proper self-image. So you're going to have problems. And he chooses to call problems challenges. Love that. Or opportunities to grow. But let's talk about how you define your dynamic life. I think we all grow up thinking, I want to be famous. I want to be rich. I want to have nice things. I want to have power. I don't know anyone, he said, I don't know anyone that is fulfilled by money, fame, or power. Fulfilled, significance. You can't take any of that to your grave, but what you can take is a legacy of integrity. I was reading this morning in Jim Dornan's incredible Becoming a Person of Influence. Becoming a Person of Influence, the first chapter. Wow, that's one of my most favourite chapters in the world to read about integrity. This line hit me today. I'm going to find it here. Reputation is what you are supposed to do. Character is who you are. Reputation is the photograph. Character is the face. Reputation is what you have when you come to a community. Character is what you have when you go away. Your reputation is made in a moment. Your character is built in a lifetime. Your reputation is learned in an hour. Your character does not come to light for a year. Reputation is what they say about you on your tombstone. Character is what the angels say about you before the throne of God. All right, I'll leave you with that. It's filled with joy and happiness all the time. That's a very hard thing to do. But we spoke last week about your subconscious and how you don't know that you don't know, and you've got to retrain some of that stuff. And we'll continue to talk about it. In fact, if you haven't realized, we've been talking about this for a few years. You can't just read one book and get it done. It's repetition, constant repetition of reminding you of this stuff, because you're putting yourself in that negative world. I know that negative world that's out there. I know it's out there. I'm a part of it all the time too. That's why you got to come back into the real world more often. So, social, home, mental, physical, business, spiritual, well adjusted in all of those areas. Doesn't say make a lot of money. Maybe make a difference if you make a lot of money. So I guess it depends what you do with it. So what is it for you? For me, it's about striving to be the best I can in every area and knowing that I did it to help other people and to leave the world a better place. To reach my potential, to use my God-given equipment. I think a lot about what they'll say about me at my funeral. And that's pretty heavy, isn't it? So, I'll leave it with you. I want you to have an awesome Saturday. I want you to think about what your dynamic life will be. I want you to choose to be happy. I want you to keep going through dynamic living with me. I want you to repeat until it just flows out of you. Because you can have a dynamic life. You guys have a great walk and talk tomorrow. See you then.